A few years ago, I decided to watch all the Best Picture winners, from Wings in 1927 to Argo in 2012. And it started out as a bit of fun, but what it eventually turned into was quite an interesting history lesson in things like politics and race relations. It's really interesting to watch how things evolved technically through film. So you started out in the silent era, and then that made way for the talkies, and then black and white films became a choice rather than a necessity with the introduction of colour film. The effects and CGI obviously, and the very dodgy early years of that. Really interesting shift from film to digital in the 2000s. And then in 2011 we came kind of full circle all the way back to The Artist, which was itself a silent black and white movie. The one quite cool thing about watching all the Best Picture winners is that you realise they're essentially the Rosetta Stone for all pop culture references. So even if you haven't seen Gone with the Wind, The Godfather, Casablanca, you kind of already have because you've watched The Simpsons, and Best Pictures sort of make up 50% of their references. What they also show you is that essentially the iteration of every single joke or plot line or character archetype that's ever really been thought of. There are really no new ideas in Hollywood. The early films in particular serve as these sort of blueprints for everything that's come since. It Happened One Night is the ultimate rom-com, and every kind of rom-com cliche ever since has essentially been pilfered from that film. And if you watch any war film made after the 1930s, you can really see traces of All Quiet on the Western Front, which was made in 1929. It's quite an amazing film actually, because you go back and you watch it and you think, oh, it's really early doors, it's not going to be that impressive, but it really is, and it's amazing how much modern filmmakers have borrowed from that. There are some controversies around the Best Picture winners in that not all of them are the best possible pictures that could have won each year. For example, Braveheart beat Apollo 13, Shakespeare in Love beat Saving Private Ryan, and Crash beat Brokeback Mountain. I know it's all personal taste, but you know. There's also the fact that non-English language films don't really get a look in. It's very much kind of a westernised cultural celebration of film rather than a worldwide celebration of film. The thing that people don't really talk about is that all the eligible voters don't actually watch all of the films, so it's not a clear, accurate view of what the Academy thinks of all the films that year. And that was sort of the talking point this year as well, with the Best Picture winner was Spotlight, a film all about how amazing journalists are. Obviously journalists have reviewed it very positively, and in cases where voters didn't go and watch all of the films, they kind of just looked to to what the critics were writing, and lo and behold, Spotlight came out pretty well. And that's it. That's kind of all my thoughts on Best Picture winners truncated. So I really recommend that you take the time as well and get a filmic history lesson watching from Wings to Spotlight, and tell me which one's your favourite is, but frankly my dear, I don't give a damn.
Thanks, Becky. If you'd like to speak for 3 minutes on something, email amy@3minuteson.com with your idea. Or, if you think there's a topic we should be covering, let me know in the comments. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and hit subscribe for new videos every Tuesday.